Hey YouTubers, this is Old John. I'm going to make a video of working on my water heater. I think the pilot assembly may be partially plugged. I came down yesterday. Actually, my wife noticed there wasn't any hot water, so we came down, and our water heater's in the basement, and there was water running out of these. This is the inlet, and this is the exit. There's water running out of those, and we took some water, opened this valve here and let some water come out in a bucket, and it was cold, so the water heater wasn't working. There's a LED here that gives you status, and it was blinking in a pattern that showed that the pilot was not being consistent. Here's the instructions on the side, which are nice. Of course, they're in the manual also. This is a Bradford White Defender system. At any rate, so I'm going to take apart the pilot valve assembly, which is this little tube here. This is where the gas goes in. You can easily remove this cover. It's just held on with these tabs that go in the holes. And then I'll disconnect the pilot. Probably will take these 4 screws off to remove this, so I can pull the whole assembly out if I need to. So first we need to shut it off. I have an electronic switch, and this also has a fan with it that exhausts the gas, rather than having just like a static gas pipe. I have a fan that comes on and exhausts any fumes out the back of the lower level of our house. We have a walkout, and so it's exhausted out through the wall. First thing we want to do before we do anything at all, other than shut it off, is to turn the gas valve off. And here's my gas line coming in. It's copper here, but here it's more conventional cast iron pipe, and this handle is running parallel to the pipe, so that means it's open. So to close it, you have to turn it perpendicular, and in this case you turn it clockwise, and now the gas should be off. So now we're ready to disconnect the pilot. Okay, so I've got the gas shut off, and I've got this off, and the pilot assembly is this skinny pipe here. This is the gas going in. So there's a nut here. I'm going to disconnect and try to use just a standard wrench, adjustable wrench, crescent wrench, if it's not too tight to get in there. Okay, one turn loosened it. So it wasn't on very tight. So we don't want to put it back on very tightly. And do you ever have any concerns about what you're disconnecting and going to be able to put it back correctly, you want to do a video or a picture so you can see where things go. So there's the end of it. Has a little orifice. I have a wire here that I will try to poke down in it, but I need to see the complete assembly, so I think I'm going to have to take this plate off. We're wanting to find if there's anything blocking the tube. Okay, so I need to get this which is holding loose, which is holding the gas line and the wires and pilot assembly going in. So let's use a flathead screwdriver to loosen this. These are caulked together, so I'll have to decide whether I need to caulk them back. Take off these screws also. Now take off this 2 screws on this side. I've taken that one out already, so and be careful when you're taking them out at the bottom so they don't fall in down in the groove here, although it's not that hard to fish them out. So, okay, this comes off pretty easily. It's got like a rubberized material on it. Hopefully I can continue using that. I thought it was like a caulking, but there's the other side. Maybe didn't have to take the other side off. It looks like it's oriented towards the right, and so there's your burner and pitot assembly. Okay, and the pitot line ties in right here. Has a little nut tying in. I think that's to the valve that opens and closes as it calls for gas. So I think I'm going to have to take the gas line off too, and then pull this whole thing out so I can get to the end of the pitot tube, and that's held on by this big nut here. Pretty tight. I'm going to probably use 2 hands. Okay, I'm having trouble getting this nut off here. So what I'm going to try to do is just disconnect the pitot line right here. It's got this little nut on it, and then you can pull it out. So I'm loosening that with the crescent wrench. Got it just about all out. That doesn't give you access to here, but then this is where the gas comes out and lights the burner. But I can stick a wire through there, I think, so, and examine this pitot line. So that's what I'm going to try to do. So I'm turning it with crescent wrench here. see if I can turn it by hand. Now when you're going to work under here, make sure everything is cool, because the burner and everything is here, and so this could be hot. So make sure it's cooled off before you work under here. Okay, so I got it. So there's the pitot end. So you got two ends, one with the smaller fitting and one with the longer, and the longer fitting goes into this assembly here. So there's the other end. I'll stick a wire in there and try to stick it down through the entire pipe and see if I hit anything. So we got it screwed in pretty deep threads, pretty long threads. Takes a little while to get it in. Tighten it completely with the crescent wrench. Okay, that's pretty tight. We don't want to bend this downwards so it doesn't shoot the gas up into the burner. So I'll hook the other end up. Gotta get it straight. So we want to finish tightening it with the crescent wrench. It doesn't have to be super tight, I don't think, as long as you don't have a gas leak. Just try it out before we put the cover on. So we'll turn the gas on. Turn the flashlight off. You don't want to turn the flashlight on when you have gas on if there's a leak. Okay. Blinking once every 3 or 4 seconds. That is normal status. Let's turn it up. Okay. That's the fan coming on. It comes on first to exhaust any gas that might be coming out. Okay, there's the burner lighting. And you can see the gas coming out of the end of the pitot. Okay, YouTubers, I ended up getting a new water heater installed. I had it installed by the plumber who did the original installation. I found out that the one that I was just showing you was the second installation, and it was done by the previous homeowner, and who was not a plumber, and he had flexible pipes in here, which you saw in the previous video. I don't think they're code. And like the plumber said, he would never do it that way, so he replaced them with solid copper here. And this has a new blower. I pulled off the old blower and some other parts to save as backups. You should always consider doing that. If you have your water heater replaced, So this pretty much is set up the same way as before. Um, so I've taken the pilot and components out, and I'll show you those to you now from the old water heater, and we'll go over those in more detail. It's on right now. You can hear the blower running, and it's blowing any gas fumes that are coming off out the pipe, PVC pipe up to the top, and then it's going horizontal out through the underside of the joists out the side of my walkout out this way. So here are some of the components I removed. This is the flexible hose that the previous owner had installed. I don't know if those are even code, but I didn't like them either. The way this was bent, it may have been reducing the amount of flow rate through the pipe. Here's a Popoff valve that I had replaced just a month or so ago. These allow, if the pressure gets over 150 in the water heater, which it shouldn't, but this spring-loaded valve here will pop up the pressure roll, will come the spring in here, and water will come out of this tube here, and then down the pipe on the side down to the floor. It goes in like this, and this is sensing, this is ceramic, I think. This is sensing the temperature or the pressure, maybe both. So I also took the blower off the other one because it seems to be in good shape still. Simple blower to exhaust the gases. And then I removed the burner and the pilot assembly, which I was trying to remove on the old water heater before I removed it. Was taken out by the plumber. Here's the nut that holds it to the underside of the box where the controls are at, and it's just loosened by this nut here. This is the pilot assembly. It's got this pipe coming up. This was connected. I showed you how to disconnect this. It's held on by this nut. It's got a little orifice in it. That appeared to be clean. It goes down here, comes out here. I did remove this to try to put a wire in there. Here's the end of what it looks like, and of course you look for any buildup of anything here. This is some kind of electric sensor, maybe a vapor sensor. I'll figure out more on that, but this has a electronic connector on the end, and this goes into the box. So you can look at these kind of things and see if they can be cleaned or if they're bent. This can be bent out of place. Of course, this is the burner. This is where the gas comes out. You always want a blue flame here on your burner. If you're starting to get yellow, there's ways to adjust that, but blue is the best. It's the hottest flame. You've heard the term hot as blue blazes. That's what it's referring to. You want blue blaze. This there's a rod or a plate sticking up vertically with a notch in it. and this slides into that notch, and that keeps the burner lined up and off the floor of the water heater. So those are some additional things to look at and can be replaced. This has a bracket that's part of the gas inlet tubing, and it's spot welded on there, so the pilot and the vapor sensor are attached on that, so those could be removed and replaced if you want. Here's the new manual and details on the components, parts list drawing. Again, this is a power vent gas water heater made by the Bradford White Corporation. It's a pretty expensive water heater. It costs around $1,100, and then the plumber put it in for a little less than $200, so total price was around $1,300. You can get water heaters a lot less expensive than this, but there again, this has a blower on it, so that makes it more expensive, which also makes it more efficient. There again, this is also a 50-gallon water heater, so it's a little more expensive because of that. Here's the energy guide data, $311. The previous one was $260 or something like that, but that was 9 years ago, so allowing for inflation, that dollar amount would be higher, I assume. And there's a list here of how much water you can get in the first hour of use, and this has a high rating of you can get 77 gallons in the first hour of use. Of course, like it says, your cost will depend on the utility rates in use. Cost ratings based only on models fueled by natural gas with a high first hour rating greater than 75 gallons. Estimated energy cost based on a national average natural gas cost of $1.09 per therm, and estimated yearly energy use 269 therms, and that's from ftc.gov/energy. It's the hydrojet unit, and it has reduced sediment buildup, lower operating costs, and more hot water. It's considered the Defender safe system. So anyway, bottom line was I just decided to go ahead and have it replaced. The plumber said that the reason it was leaking around the exit here and the entrant pipe was because it had broken loose from the top of the lining, and even though the components still had the ability to heat water, it had to be replaced. We noticed too, now we have to keep setting the water temperature lower because it's so much more efficient. Of course, it probably had a certain amount of sediment in it, and therefore maybe not heating as well. Has a low setting here, and then 3 increments, and then hot, and then an ABC and very hot. We're setting it below hot. As a retired water engineer, I can tell you, you want to keep it reasonably low in temperature, because the hotter, the more the calcium carbonate, which is lime, hardness components in your water, if you have any, which most systems have some hardness, will tend to settle out more into the bottom of the tank the hotter you keep the temperature. So you want to keep it, so you won't scald yourself anyway, but lower in temperature and you'll have less settlement in your water heater, and it'll last longer. This is the drain valve. You just stick a screwdriver in here and turn it. And that's the pressure relief valve I was showing you I removed from the old one. So anyway, okay, YouTubers, so these are some of the things to look for on your water heater, and you can replace some of them before it completely fails like mine did. So if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. And my YouTube channel is Harrison4803. I have a video of replacing this Popoff valve. If you're interested in looking at it, I'll leave a link for that. And I have lots of other DIY videos, also spirituality, some computer programming and review of computers and so forth. So give me a thumbs up if you want. And this is Old John signing off.